Hello, and welcome to twitch.tv. I'm WriterGreg, and tonight we are working and continuing to work on the WorldAnvil Summer Camp 2020 World Building Challenge, where we do 33 prompts in 30 days and showcase articles from other writers who are participating in the same challenge, where we will provide insight and help to whomever may want to have that. So, for no reason, I welcome, glad to see you here, and like to welcome everyone else who is also in the chat and will be joining us soon. If you're not here, there's opportunities to watch this on the VODs. The links are down below, and also on youtube.com on my WriterGreg First Drafts channel. And Galadan, welcome. Glad that you could make it. So we're just going to get started on here and do some working and critiquing. So let's start off. As always, thanking the Anvilite Streamer Corps for their coordination and support during this summer camp challenge, where there are streamers and live broadcasters of many varied backgrounds who are working in concert to help anyone who wants to also work on the challenge. So if you're unable to see someone, or you want to be able to see who's broadcasting when, just come to this link and you will be able to see the who is writing or working on what at any given time. So with that, we can just jump straight into it. Luckily, because of previous streams, I have completed the 30 prompts that have been released already. So what I'll be working on tonight is edits, but that's only if there aren't individuals in the chat who have articles that they would like to have showcased and we can discuss online. So anyone, and I believe I've removed the limits to how many articles we'll do. We'll be here for the next maybe a little over 2 hours and talk about the critiques. And if there are no critiques or showcases to do, we'll just work on some of my stuff. And so we'll just go ahead with that. So if there's anyone who wants to kick off the bat, we can go ahead and do that, or I will just jump onto my own stuff. And Galadan has jumped in already. All right, if you would provide a link in the chat, and come on, there we go. All right. Just a brief government post. Haven't been feeling super inspired writing for the next 3 prompts. I can understand that. Some of the prompts are more challenging. Kahuna the Elder had some great information on trying to work hard and getting these things into the prompts, and I can totally relate with that. So let's begin. The rostrum. Okay. Let me turn off the music. When Vestria first began her rule over Anhara, the greatest speakers of the nation naturally gravitated towards her, as flattery was the premier method of getting ahead. Let me get this a little bit bigger here. There we go. These silver-tongued men went on to become the legendary founders of the noble houses of Anhara. They were designated by the goddess to rule over particular regions of the nation. Due to her fickle nature, the patriarchs of these great houses saw fit to establish their own council across Lake Mira from the Vestral Tower, so as to best coordinate their approach to winning Vestria's favor on matters. This group eventually grew to become the Rostrum. Seated at the debate hall in Meridia and coordinated the overall government of the nation. Structure. Upon the first climbing war, the rostrum was glutted with houses until, as Anhara developed, especially once Vestria ascended in the crossing over, some of the 9 founding houses lost power to vassals or simply to time. However, there was no real method for removing them from the rostrum, leading to ancient but less powerful nobles having equal vote to the currently important houses. Paying no fealty to a larger house and maintaining control over an area of land consisting of A. Considerable size, B. Exceptional economic importance, and or C. Historical significance. Book of Etiquette Legality. Okay. Following the noble houses rising up against unjust representation for ancient but less powerful families, I'd take out that comma there. The Book of Etiquette was updated with a legal definition for major houses. Additionally, the rostrum rules were modified to allow the removal of those no longer meeting the requirements, as well as 1 vote per house. Today, the rostrum consists of 15 voting members, 14 of which are the major noble houses, and the expositor, who represents the minor noble houses. However, the rhetor lord, does not receive an extra vote. Rather, they are the rhetor for their own house and is expected to hold their vote until last, in an effort to impartially break ties. Okay. Nothing grammatically. I think this is clear, as we've got. Some of the questions I have is more about the content of it than the presentation of the material. So we'll just keep going forward. The rostrum is the main legislative body of the nation, passing whatever bills they see fit, with few legal constrictions. However, the reality often differs from those wide-reaching powers, as the members of the rostrum seek to maintain the power of their individual houses as well. Some legislation is passed regardless of the present political climate, with the budget, public works, and maintaining the social hierarchy taking precedence. However, in times of crisis or high centralization, the rostrum may nationalize the militias and armies of individual houses, approve treaties, or modify laws. The actions of the rostrum are largely dependent upon the prevailing mood of its members and how powerful the rhetor lord is. I'm sorry for that mispronunciation. Okay, present makeup. All right, we have the rhetor lord. I'm going to look at this. The expositor, house age. Okay. Type. Okay. Oh, okay. Senate, Parliament. All right. Leader. Okay. I'm gonna take a quick look over here. Okay, because this is the rank and title. Chosen as the first among equals, the rhetor lord is generally selected from within the rostrum. In the early days of Anhara, this took the form of the discourse, an oratorical contrast between the candidates for position. Shrouded in mystery and ritual, this process has changed over the years. Early in its history, the contestants utilized inherent powers given by their goddess to defeat their opponents by force of words. However, as time went on, the gods departed and the knowledge of their gifts dwindled. The rhetors turned the discourse into a ceremonial rubber stamp on a typical political leadership contest. Now a simple vote decides who should lead Anhara. Okay. Okay, Expositor was the product of the first climbing war, when upstart noble houses wrenched political power from the more ancient ones, who, while great in years, lacked material wealth. This shift to balance of Anhara politics required minor vassal noble houses to be accomplished, as well, and as a reward, the position of expositor was created, giving voice to the minor nobility's needs in the rostrum. Okay. The expositor is expected to name their successor ahead of time rather than being selected by the rhetor lord or a specific noble house. Traditionally, the holder of the position is supposed to be an important member of the lower classes. However, in practice, minor noble houses tend to rotate the title between a representative of each, with every vassal house getting a turn. On occasion, the outcry from the non-noble classes was so strongly in favor. Okay, in favor. Okay, the outcry. See, okay. In favor of one particular citizen, that the expositor is forced to name him or her as their successor, this typically being some sort of heroic warrior or intellectual who has worked their way up from the lower class. Okay, this is I know this isn't the article. I'm just, again, a really long sentence. Strongly as an adverb, I'm having a hard time identifying which verb this adverb modifies. And that's the challenge with super long sentences with a lot of subordinative clauses, is to be able to define what is being done strongly. Okay, the outcry is a noun, so that's not something that's being done. The outcry is strongly in favor. Yeah, then okay, is the verb, and then I just get rid of just the so. Is strongly. Yeah. I think adverbs are useful if they do something that's not expected. Because if you cry tearfully, well, crying and tears go really together. But if you laugh tearfully, that's a contrast, and it provides a better contrast. So I am not of the get rid of every adverb frame of mind, but only so that it does it. Now, strongly does emphasize what is being done, which is the outcry. So yeah, it could be done, but an outcry is usually strong, and so there could be an argument not to use that. Okay, well, the reason why I jumped over to these other articles is because differentiate the outcry being stronger than normally complaining by poor people. Fair enough. Okay, the reason why I wanted to go through that is, in this article itself, I'm not at first glance, I'm not finding anything that's really standing out grammatically or anything that is unclear, but I think it would be interesting to talk more about how the government functions, and maybe understanding that better would strengthen the article, add meat to it. You said this is a brief post. If you're not feeling inspired with this post, I'd say it's good and you can just move forward. But if you're working on something that is very, if this is going to be a major point in a story, in a campaign, you may want to get more into the bureaucracy of how they function, the rules, the regulations, because that would be very helpful when you're working on a political thriller. But if this is a small group that's always going to be in the background and things are going to focus more at the house level, then I think this information is sufficient, and then I would pour my energies into something where you are feeling a little bit more inspired. Correct. You didn't even say how meetings and stuff are run. But see, that's okay. You've defined the organization, and under the principles of agile world building that is espoused by WorldAnvil, I would say that you have enough now to be sufficient. Yeah, haven't been super inspired to write recently. Mostly been filling out stubs, just waiting until the next 3 prompts. Does that mean you're done with all 30 of the other other prompts? Because uh, I am in L. Wonderful. Congratulations on being done. Yeah. Um, Dazzlecat, welcome. Just congratulating Galadan for finishing the other 30 prompts, and we're just reviewing the article. Yeah. Oh, Barbarossa Sparkleboard, welcome. Sir Writer of House Greg. It's funny when I go to family reunions. My mother has a flag. She has literally, it's got the bar across. It drapes down and it has a giant lemon on it, and we know what park we're at because because that flag is flying in the rostrum. Oh, thank you for the. I'm actually done with this bottle, so. There are some of the wonderful people who have married into our family who have just taken the name and run with it. Others not so much, but it's just fun to see stuff like that. Okay, so thank you, Barbarossa, for the hydrate check and the posture check. And so, just to finish off this one, Galadan, I think you have a good foundation, and I wouldn't really expand upon it unless you plan to you are planning to have a campaign that focuses on this part of your world, meaning you are going to have a political thriller. You are going to talk about maybe there is a corrupt House of Lord or a corrupt rhetor lord or expositor or an expositor is now battling with the rhetor lord, and you need to have that nitty gritty detail. Short of that, I think you have a good solid article here. All right, so we that's all right. That's good. Okay. Now we have another link here. Oh no, the Barbarossa has. Oh, please help me pronounce this. Goldgenacht. That sounds German. The Nacht at the end. Goldgen, Goldgenacht, Gouldgenacht, Gould, no, double O, not O U, Goldgenacht. Okay, Gold, Goldgenacht. All right. In the midst of late autumn, when the harvests have reached their close, those who worked so hard come together and cheer. Their cry is heard from farmhouse to farmhouse, and all know it is her time again, the time of Saint Meve, and the time for feast, drink, and celebration. Dazzlecat, you're eating supper, so I'm safe from typo links. All right. Their cry. The cry of the neck is a farming tradition related to the last field harvested. Okay, harvests have reached their close. Those who worked together and cheer. Okay, so their cry meaning the farmers and the workers From farmhouse to farmhouse, all knowing it is her time again. St. Meve and the time for feast, drink, and celebration. Okay, cool. All right. St. Meve's feast day, also known as Gulganacht, is the harvest festival of the Duernan people. Gulganacht is Duernan for Wheat Cutters Day. Okay, I like that. But isn't Nacht night in German? Um, oh, Nach. It sounded better than the word for day. Hey, and cool is better than accurate. Um, but see here up here, then when they reached their close, Nacht is German spelling, and this is okay. Nau. Oh, so you have an extra U. Okay, that's where I got confused. But where you're talking about when they've reached their close, wouldn't that usually be an evening? Or but yeah, Wheat Cutters Day. I'm nitpicking. I'm sorry. We okay. The festival was held at the end of the harvest season and took the form of a vast feast around the time of the autumnal equinox. Okay. Though the feast has continued for many centuries, traditions such as the crying of the neck have fallen. Traditions have fallen out of fashion through Duarna, as traction engines and farming equipment have removed the need for scythes and cane hooks. Okay. Okay. I like how you're talking how a tradition has fallen out of favor. Tell me, oh, tell me, young lads and lassies, tell me why you're running so. With the laughter on your trailing winds, your cheeks are all aglow. You say you're going to the churchyards to feast and laugh and play, and to enjoy the festivals of old St. Meve's feasting day. Cool. You said song. I had to do something. Um, very nice. Now, I am not a poetry person, but I believe with each stanza, regardless of if it's proper grammar or not, I believe you begin each sentence with a capitalized letter, even in the middle of a sentence for poetry. I could be wrong, but um, I'm not a poetry guy. But I'm you may want to look that up. Legends and tales tell that Saint Meve was a woman renowned for her humility and who offered her homes to the poor and animals. The tale has many tellings, but they all seem to share the same three guests who visit her home. On the first day, as Meve was boiling carrots, she was visited by a string of horses whom she offered food and her field to rest in. Okay. Um, I would, um, ending a sentence with a preposition, I would probably just and a field for rest, and just put that, and not ending sentences with a preposition. The next day, they returned her kindness by tilling out all the stones from her field and left. Later that day, as Meve was making a pie, she was visited by a flock of birds uh, whom she to I would say to whom she offered her sweets and her trees to rest in. Okay, already mentioned that. The next day, lowercase, the flock returned her kindness by covering her field with seeds. Later that day, as Meve counted the last of her food, she was visited by a group of transients whom to whom she offered her home and the last of her food. the group of transients returned her kindness by working the land until it grew the finest wheat in all Duerna. Okay, this is a really good paragraph. I like how you have the parallelism, and even to the point where you made the consistent, uh, in my opinion, error of the to whom. But you are parallel throughout all three of them. So you were being consistent, and I think that is a good way to do it, because sometimes prose can have a poetic nature to it, and you can try to read and things, and if it has a nice flow, I am one who likes the parallelism in the paragraph that you have here between the three, so you know what to expect. But then again, with the rule of threes, you have the first one that sets the expectation, the second one that confirms the expectation, and the third is subverts the expectation. So you do that a little bit here, where you had two animals. Animal one, expectation. Animal two, confirmation of expectation. And three, you had humans come in, and they stayed and worked the land, where the other two just were there for a short time. So then you did follow the rule of three, where you had expectation, confirmation, and then subversion. So again, a very well structured paragraph explaining the history of Meve. It was from this day that she was able to feed everyone and every creature who visited her home for a full year. This continued every year until she could not harvest any more. In her weary age, the very wheat she planted grew so tall that it lifted her to heaven, though in some regions it is claimed she was buried in a field where she became a large field of corn, wheat, etc. Okay, I like that you have that allow for the variation between the different regions. And I think that ascension of Meve, lifting to heaven, is a fun little point, because usually there's a miracle when you're talking about saints, and the fact that the wheat grew so much that it took her to heaven. I like that. It adds to the religious iconography of it. That may be a wrong phrase to use. You do have here, in her weary age, in the third sentence. I would probably move, because when I read this sentence, this continued every year until she could not harvest any more. And then I was going, but why? In her weary age. Okay. I think it's good the way it is, but there may be a way to not allow that question to be raised in my mind, saying, "Oh, it's because she's old." Okay, but until, like, this continued every year until her weary age prevented her from harvesting anymore, something like that. So this continued until she grew too old to harvest again. Yeah. Flies. Oop. Okay. Duernan farmers have long viewed this tale with great reverence and celebrated her life on her feast day on or near the autumnal equinox. Okay, viewed as yeah, I was thinking you can't view a story unless it's like, I mean, long shared this story. They long viewed is to have an opinion of something as well, so never mind. Execution. Near the time of the autumnal equinox, after the fields have been near completely harvested, Farmers will hear the crying of the neck and cheer far and wide. From Brannock all the way to the storm coast, farmers participate in Guldganacht to honor St. Maeve's memory. Okay. Once the cry has been called, people will gather together with friends, family, and neighbors to cook a great feast. In some cases, the festivities will occur the next day or the next week, depending on the population of the area. The festivities can also take many forms, from parades and fellowship meals to small family gatherings where broiled meat and potatoes are served. It is common courtesy to allow all wanderers and transients into your home, should they knock, and feed them as St. Meve did. They then will repay your kindness with money, stories, or even work the next day as thanks. Okay, cool. I don't know if you need the word as thanks here because you already have repay your kindness here, or even work in, like, yeah. I don't know if you need the double concept of repaying kindness and thanks in the same sentence. Just where I'm coming from as a short story person, where you have to make every word work for its existence in your paragraph. And so if a word is doing if a word is if two phrases are doing the exact same thing, get rid of one. Yeah, I agree. I thought that as you read it out loud. Okay. And see, this is why it's so powerful to read things out loud. Some of the best critiquing I've ever done is of my own work when I'm reading it out loud to writing group members. I just go, okay, mess that. You know, and so reading out loud is really good. In the last few decades, as traction engines and farming equipment have become more widespread, it is not uncommon for non-traditional farmers to take part in the activities. In major cities, workers celebrate by holding large feasts with their families and with their friends and families while giving any leftovers to their neighbors the next day. Okay. Yeah, so like Thanksgiving, not very few people actually have farms or gardens from which to harvest bounty for the Thanksgiving table, but yet we still have the feast. I like that. I like how you've been able to modernize the tradition. Oh, that looks so yummy. Pretzels, grapes, wheat bread, and mm, okay. So regarding food, it seems like the only food that you mentioned was broiled meat and potatoes. You did talk about wheat, but that was in reference to the um, that not the fairy tale, the history of Saint Meve. But you've only talked about broiled meats and potatoes. And so, is there more than just those traditional foods? Because when you're talking about the feast, large feast with family and friends, what kind of stuff? I'm studying a few Irish, Cornish, and Welsh meals, which will be added after summer camp. Perfect, perfect. That, yeah. And I don't, I I don't know why, but I threw a quasi pseudo Irish accent with this song that you had up there because I was getting that feeling. Yeah, so when you add those meals to it, yeah, that's great. All right, good job. I do like that. And it's so fun to read more than what. Uh, yee, I loved it. But you got to understand, there's many different ways to be able to speak the language of the British Isles, whether it be the Irish or it be the Scottish, because you, oh, the sidebar for the crying neck below. Okay. I'm not sorry. The crying of the neck is a St. Maeve's Day tradition, often marking the week before the festival is to occur. It is done when the last field in the town, village, or hamlet has cut down the last stalks or necks, of their autumn harvest. Once done, the harvester will lift up the neck and shout their traditional cry. St. Meve, looky here, a neck for you and your kin. To which surrounding farmers will cry in return, hurrah for the neck, hurrah for St. Meve, hurrah for Mr./Mrs. So-and-so. So do they actually shout the name of the person who finished their farm? Like, hurrah for Mr. Johnson, or hurrah for Mrs. Stephen. Well, those are very Scandinavian names, but if you hear about that, okay, cool. That is good. Okay, all right. So let's shrink this up. Okay. Yeah, it doesn't look like a. This is why the tradition is dying, as it's hard to do such a fun event on an industrial scale with tractors and such. And I like that how you've added that in there. You did talk that a little bit up here at the top. Yeah, you have this paragraph here, and then you have the paragraph here. I might take the hey Aaron. I would probably take an add if add instead of having a history, you could say modern day, and then you would be able to have a you would be able to say modern day adaptations or something like that, and put those two paragraphs. Lemon hype. You could put those two paragraphs together, and that would be able to make that stronger. And yeah, but I really do like the fact that you talk about the modernization, because if you think about, okay, does everyone know the Christmas story? The little kid, you'll shoot your eye out, you'll shoot your eye out, and it's Christmas in the 19 oh heck 30s or something. Okay, yeah, Ralphie, exactly. How they celebrated those Christmases versus how we celebrate Christmas today, and even how we celebrate Thanksgiving today versus celebrating Thanksgiving. Well, any holiday you could do, and so I really like how you've put that extra thought into it and saying, yes, this is a tradition. Yes, it's ancient, but this is how it's being modernized. So, good job adding depth and character to our holidays. All right, we have another one. So, good job, Barbarossa. Let's go to another one from Dazzlecat. The Jello Montessoris of the Urbanite, 1960s, 1970s. Oh, Jello monstrosities of the Urbanite. Yes. When the 2002 Olympics were in Salt Lake City, they had a little pin of green Jello, and the green Jello. Let's see if Jello shredded carrot. Okay, this is something that I have eaten at the dinner table, and it is it is something to behold and try to eat. Yeah, I've had green Jello with shredded carrots in them, and it was not supposed to be a dare or a punishment. Oh, I'm gonna be in so much trouble if my family ever watches this stream. All right, Dazzler Cat, Veridun. Yeah, when Jello became a big thing, you would get so much weird stuff. There was tomato flavored Jello. I mean, I have a hard time with ketchup. I'm a salsa guy, but and ketchup is hard for me. But man, a tomato, a savory tomato Jello, a hot dog Jello. Oh, that's just wrong. Hot dog Jello is the stuff you wipe off of the Vienna sausages when they come out of the can. That okay? Let's cleanse our palates here. All right, Veridun. Okay, this is an article. Veridun. From the first time of that now dead hot person, my grandther took his monstrous axe, Hrogrinder, and from it I forged the first mighty spell slayer swords of the Argosy. From the fist. My grandther? Okay, I took his... Okay. Brikud Glintai, master of the Argosy forge. What is Veridun? Veridun is a strange ore of black metal veined within deep purple crystal. The two cannot be separated. Both melt at the same temperature and turn into a black liquid with streams of deep purple liquid suspended within it. Veridun is many times stronger than crucible steel and half the weight, making it the very best for crafting metal weapons and armor. In addition to this, Veridun is inert to acids, ichors, and other substance, magical or mundane, that would cause it to change or rust. I'd probably get it. Well, see, you started Verdun, and so yeah, I can see why you have this to provide some variety to how you're starting your sentences, so it doesn't sound like an overglorified checklist. So I think that is good, but I don't know if it's needed in this long. Well, it's not that last sentence. In addition to this, Verdun is inert to acids, ichors, or any substance, magical or mundane, that would cause it to change or rust. Its most intriguing property, though, is that magic cannot affect it. So you're drawing a distinction between a magical or a magical substance and magic itself, is what I'm taking from that. Because that is like there's a magical potion versus an incantation. Okay, all right, good. Magma forges can soften and melt it, but magical heat does nothing. Striking someone protected by magic is like striking them as though they had no such protections. These properties make items crafted by Veridun or with Veridun highly valuable. Or crafted with Verdun, highly valuable. Smithing Verdun does no harm to the crystal veins which adjust their crystalline structures so that the outside edge are level with the metal's outside edges, smoothing as the metal part cools. Okay. Smithing Verdun does no harm to the crystal veins which adjust their crystalline structures so that its outside edges are level with the metal's outside edges, smoothing as the metal part cools. Okay, I'm not a metallurgist, but I love watching Forged in Fire on the History Channel, where it's like a reality competition show where blacksmiths make weapons in like 4 hours or something like that. So that's my extent of metallurgic understanding. I'm not sure I understand this, but I know it sounds cool. Someone who knows smithing and metallurgy, as many D&D players they may stumble over this. I'm not really stumbling over it because I don't know enough to contradict what you're saying here. But the idea of, the crystalline structures is good. I don't know. The outside edges are level with the metal's outside edges, smooth. I'm not sure what that means, but that could just be because of my lack of knowledge, as opposed to it being accurate. So I don't know if I can comment on that more than saying I don't know what to say about that. But it does sound cool. Smoothing is the metal part. I would like to know is the resulting purple. Is the resulting thing here, let me just draw something. Okay, here we go. Okay, so this is Inkscape. So I'm going to take this and fill and stroke. So you say it's black. So does it look like that? So is when you're talking about them coming together at an edge, is it a black core with the purple around the edge, or is the veins of purple still within? You said yes twice. So I'm guessing if that's because this is the image I'm kind of getting from it, and if that's what you're trying to color. Okay, so it is a solid black color in the middle, but there's the purple edge around it. So the cutting edge is actually the purple crystal, but veins in like marble. Oh, okay. So all right. So there are a couple veins in the middle. Okay. I would probably add that description here, saying the resulting after smithing, the majority of it is the veins have thinned, and the majority of the cutting edge is now hardened purple crystal. Because that would be interesting to know, instead of it's not the black that's cutting, it's the purple that's cutting. Okay. Cool. Where to find it? Verdun is only found within live volcanoes mined by the fire giants, who are also the only ones who can work the magma forges needed to work Verdun. That is cool. That's a cool bit of knowledge. Fire giants will never trade their Verdun. They still hunger to dominate all other giants and lead them into taking over the world. Luckily for the world, every fire giant clan leader thinks he is the one to rule them all, and the clans constantly battle each other to prove their dominion. Unfortunately for the fire giants, dwarves are insanely passionate about all smithy things. Dwarves are also incredibly smart at smithing. One clever dwarf figured out how to make his forge magma hot, along with how to work close to such a forge without being killed by the heat. It was extremely costly, and he proved it capable of working the Verdun of his Grandthur's trophy axe taken from his victory over a fire giant. Okay, he proved it capable, like it is capable of working or something. Like it meaning his forge. Yeah, okay. So and that goes back from the fist of the now dead. Oh, the dead meaning the fire giant. Yeah, yes. Okay. And Grandthur meaning grandfather. I like that, Grandthur. That's not something I've heard before as a name for grandfather. I like that. Yeah, prove the forge works. Okay. Hey, cousin, Sir Brunor Glinti said to his first cousin on his father's side, "How much are the elders going to back your wondrous Veridium sword smithy? Short-sighted, nitpicking, blustering buffoons won't give me a copper despite all their oohs and ahs over the masterworks I've presented." Brecken Glinti snarled over the stein of gold keg stout, and after they said no, half of them offered to buy one only twice the worth of a master sword only made of steel. "Oh," Bronner said, so surprised he struggled for words. He took a few careful sips of the family ale while he thought perhaps it would help Brecken simmer down a bit too. After a minute of silence, Brunner cleared his throat. "How badly do you want a Verdun smithy, Brecken?" he asked. Brecken eyed him sideways. "Just spit it out, Brunner. Don't be dancing around my temper." He gulped down the rest of his ale, then poured himself another from the pitcher. Then poured himself another from the pitcher. "My order is looking for a master smith, and they would pay a ransom for swords of Verdun." Brecken snorted. "Until I can get more, there is only these 3 swords." And the elders pointed out that even with all the trophies hanging about the clan, it's not enough to maintain a smithy. Brunner gave Brecken that coldly confident smile that could make a Rigern barbarian faint. Oops, get more verdant, yeah. It made Brecken hiccup into his ale. "We Argosy have dealt with fire giants before, Brecken." The dwarven knight that was his cousin and loved him, Brecken reminded himself. "For a forge that makes us these," he waved at the 3 swords at the end of the long table, "we would be very willing to cull some fire giants." Brecken swallowed and, for the first time in his life, almost felt pity for the fire giant persons. "That would be a fine deal, Brunner, a fine deal indeed." Yeah, that is a nice way to end this article. It does give a little bit more flavor to it. I really got to start doing this. Yeah. That is I'm liking these fiction snippets in them, in the articles that I'm reading. Okay, there's no side thing. Nice. I do like it. And I think about the issues that I had. I think we talked about it through. But yeah, This is good. Good. I guess the only thing is that I'm still hung up apart is about metal and crystal having the same melting temperature and being able to survive a smithing process in it. Because I could think of like a Damascus steel that has those cool ridges through it. Um, it could be something like that. But to be able to maintain the native vein structure like a marble after having gone through the smithing process. Um, but that's just me having watched too many TV shows. Yeah, the weirdness of it, part of its mystery. Okay. Then I wonder if you should hang a lampshade on it. Call out that, yes, I know that this doesn't mean, this doesn't make sense, but this is just how it works. And by emphasizing this is how it works because this is how it works, it would quell those possible questions. Cool. All right. Good job. Oh, my own posture check. Oh, yeah. Barbarossa. Yeah. Give me the link. I mean, I'm going to do this until we run out of time or we run out of links. It. Okay. It's not a link, a quote/poem. All right. If I'm working on for an article, it's not in an article that I can link to, or is it something you want to copy paste into chat? However you feel the best way to get it to me. We can post more than one if no one else is posting. Yeah, first come, first served. Wait, no. Wrong computer. Come on. Copy. Oops. Not that big. A little smaller. He stocked the. Okay. Forno Raisin, congratulations on finishing your 30. Good job. So let me change this. Format page. Make it landscaped. Okay. Yep, hype for no reason. Good job. All right. He stalked through the camp on a cold evening fair, when the soldiers were resting and beastly prepared. And he entered each tent, he came and he went, till the camp was quiet the next morn. Okay. He stalked through the camp on a cold evening fair. So we got 11. When the soldiers were resting and beastly prepared. So we got 12. And he entered each tent. He came and he went. Okay, we're back to 11. Till the camp was quiet the next morn. So we have 9. Oops. Control C. The poem refers to a viral disease, something like the Spanish flu. Okay. Also, he. Now, bestly. Is that bestly or beastly? Because I have this type. It's saying that's a word typo. Is that word bestly? Bestly. Okay. He stalked through the camp on a cold evening fair. Changed it to neatly. Change it to neatly. Okay. Neatly. When the soldiers were resting and neatly prepared. Okay. He stalked through the camp on a cold evening fair, when the soldiers were resting and neatly prepared. How much can I play with this? I mean, because this is your fiction, this is your writing. I don't want to make it mine as much as, oh, goody. Okay, thank you. I would take away the word and. It's a beta draft. Okay, so there we have the parallelism because he stalked through the camp. He entered each tent. He came and he went. He okay. Literally just wrote it. Okay. Are you looking for a because we can have a bunch of different, we can have like right now you have A B C as your rhyming structure. Fair, prepared, went, mourn. And so that is the rhyming structure. But if we do this, we then have A B C. He entered each tent, which would be the 5. He came, and he came and he went. Okay, that's also 5. Till the camp was quiet the next morn. Now, are you intentionally spelling mourn as MOURN because as in mourning as in lamenting the passing of someone? Okay, so you're intentionally, all right. The double meaning of the word mourn and mourning. Till the camp was quiet the next morn. Okay. He stalked through the camp on a cold evening fair. Okay, let's take out the soldiers. No, I mean take out when. The soldiers were resting and neatly prepared. So that gives us 11 and 11. He entered each tent. He came. He entered. each tent. He came. I don't know why he came till the camp was quiet at the end of the night. But see, I really like what Barbarossa has done with morning and morning. Till the camp was quiet at the end of the night. Till the camp was quiet. Till the camp was quiet at the end of the night. Till the camp was quiet. Camp was quiet at the end of the night. Till the camp was quiet at the end of the night. That's 12 that we got there. Yeah, the morn thing is so fitting. He stalked through the camp. The soldiers were resting and neatly prepared. The soldiers were resting. Soldier. Okay, let's just. I've never done poetry, so I'm having so much fun right now. Soldiers were resting. Okay, that's 5. He stalked through the camp. Okay, there's 5 again. He stalked through the camp. Come on a cold evening fair. A cold. 'Twas even. Oh no, Barbarossa, this is cool. 'Twas. Okay, now I'm throwing the word 'twas in here. Is 'twas too old-fashioned? Okay, because when you think of 'twas, 'twas the night before Christmas. It's an older English, and so by doing that, I want to make sure that's okay. The world is 1800s. Okay, he stalked through the camp. 'Twas a cold, even fair. 'Twas a cold evening. Simpler time. He came and he went, leaving only lament. Ooh, you like that? Okay. He came, he went, leaving only lament. Leaving only lament. Oh, that is 6. Leaving. He came, because okay, and neatly prepared. He stalked. 'Twas a cold, even fair. It's still 6. Yeah, 6. That's why I changed the to and. A cold, even. Because a cold evening, a cold evening fair. That's 5. Okay, and then camp fair, resting, prepared, neatly prepared, and neatly prepared. So neatly prepared. He entered each tent, he came, and he went. Okay, yeah, that's right. He came, and he went, leaving only lament. Okay, so I like the lament because tent, went, lament, no comma at the end. He entered each tent, he came, and he went, leaving only lament. Okay, so how, okay, we got, let's see, if we, okay, let's delete that. Oh, okay, camp. He stalked through the camp, a cold evening fair. Soldiers were resting, so neatly prepared. He entered each tent. He came, and he went. The term neatly prepared is an old Victorian term meaning healthy and well, or got everything in order. Okay. Okay, so neatly prepared is intentional. Okay, yeah. So neatly prepared. Healthy and well, got everything. Okay, he came, he entered each tent. He came and he went. Fair prepared. He stalked through the camp, a cold evening fair. Soldiers were resting, so neatly prepared. He entered each tent, he came, and he went. The morn they greeted them. Ooh. They greeted the morn. Wait. They greeted the morn. That's 5. Something, leaving. They greeted the morn, meaning the soldiers. So I can't hand type links. Sorry, retyping it. Okay. He came and he went. They greeted the they need their he stalked through their camp. Okay, he stalked through their camp, a cold evening fair. Soldiers were resting, so neatly prepared. He entered each tent, he came, and he went. They, meaning there, they greeted the morn, leaving, filled, filled with filled with songs, filled with songs, voices. Morn has a double meaning. Morn and morning referring to both the next day and the next funeral. Yeah. Voices. No, air. Cold. They greeted the morn. air, air, a sickening cough, voices filled with lament. Well, I think the sickening, upon the morn there was only, upon the morn there was only lament. Okay. Upon the morn there was only lament. Yeah, lament. Okay, so that upon the morn there was only lament. That is 10, but it's not really 5 and 5 though. Found. Found only lament. They greeted the morn, found only lament. They, no, that I don't like the they. Upon the morn, there was only lament. Upon the upon the morn, there was only lament. Because we just have it so nice. The 5-5. This is poetry. This is lyrics. This is. Oh, don't apologize, Barbarossa. They greeted morn, finding. No. Because I really like, personal opinion, I really like the first 3 lines. It's just how to land, because I like morn being the 5th syllable and lament being the 5th, found being the 5th, 4th and 5th syllables. Yeah, those are solid. They greeted the morn. Because maybe he left greeting. Okay, we have the characters we have in this flash fiction is that we have the virus that we're anthropomorphizing as a he, and we have soldiers. And so the soldiers is referred to as they, their soldiers, and lay. And instead of found, with instead of found, they greet with only. With only they greeted the morn with only lament. Yeah. Okay, but leaving only lament, leaving only lament the next morn. The leaving only lament the next morn. The challenge with that is that went and lament rhyme, because right now we have the AABB rhyming structure. Trying to rhyme that last word, yeah. Because right now we have a solid 5-5 per line, and then we have the A, fair, prepared, went, lament. And here, fair is a single syllable, went is a single syllable, prepared is 2, lament is 2. So we have really good parallel between those lines that we have there. So I like having lament. They greeted the morn with only lament. Okay, I'm liking. And I put it back to 4 lines so that we wouldn't have to try to rhyme camp, resting, tent, and mourn. They stalked through their camp. Did I? Wait. Control Z. Okay. He stalked through their camp, a cold evening fair. Soldiers were resting. That would need a comma. So neatly prepared. He entered each tent. He came and he went. He came and he went. They greeted the morn. That's okay, so no sentence with only lament. He stalked through their camp, a cold evening fair. Okay, we need the comma there so they know to breathe. And that cold. He stalked through their camp, a cold evening fair. Soldiers were resting, so neatly prepared. He entered each tent, he came, and he went. They greeted the morn with only lament. I like the he, they. You're right, because he did something, the soldiers did something. He did something more, the soldiers did something. Yeah. You know what? I think we're good. I really do. I think that is a very action reactionary. Yes. Yeah, and it okay. I will copy that. Copy, and I will paste that back into the chat. And of course it removed the line things. Oh, this is fun. No, this is good. This is the words have such power. And let me stand on my soapbox just a bit. It saddens me when words are overloaded, meaning there's many words. A single word has many meanings. Or the definite. No, that's not what I mean. I mean, when a word is, what do I mean? Words are so fascinating, and they can be crafted so tightly and precisely as we demonstrated here. And it is just so cool to be able to do that. And well, I speak English, so I say English is so cool that you can have that rich meaning. So I don't know what I was talking about before, but this is just like stalked. It's so, I mean, a virus that stalks through the night, and this could be an assassin. This doesn't have to be a virus. I mean, this is anybody. Because we're personifying the fact that this is about a virus, and he stalked through the camp. A cold evening fair. And I mean the vivid imagery in such tight language like this is just beautiful. I'm glad that we did this. This was fun. This is the kind of thing that when you are able to hone your words and have such good stuff at the end of it, yeah, that is a fun one. And again, it's the 1800s where symbolism and such was super important to give things like poverty, industry, and such a physical form. Yeah, very, very much so. All right. I would love to read the article that this will be attached to. When you're ready. All right, Dazzlecat, you okay? Let's jump over to this new link. Everyone having fun? I'm having fun. It's okay. It's for my natural disaster, the Grecian gripe, or is that grip? The grip. Is that I don't know the disease. That sounds like a disease. Okay, this article, feeling grip was a term for influenza. Ah, okay. So the person who reads this article will know that it is definitely referring to a virus then. Feeling like it's a bit incomplete, but not sure what to add without doing all the tales. Imagine the poems that they will write about Senor Corona decades from now. Chakot, mother to her tad of hunting, too hurried to buckle on his kermy belt. No sevens? Hoptor, sacred are sevens. Save your life they will. Sacred is 7. In the steamy Oquioke lived the Chaco. Oquioke. Oh, okay, Oquioke. No disaster is complete until it has a song to it. Tom Lehrer, the man who literally wrote a song about World War III. Dinosaur Bob, welcome. Oquioke. Okay. In the steamy Oquioke live the Chaco, a primitive people that look like brightly colored tree frogs. They believe there is power in the number 7, and their most sacred lore consists of 7 tales that teach their young the importance of their 7 sacred rules. Any Chaco? W.D. Michael, welcome. Any Chaco traveling out beyond the village tree wears a kermy belt, which has attached to it several pouches and sheaths holding a variety of useful things. Ah, playtest, fun. This belt is named for the greatest legendary hero, Kermy Topwater, and it is through the telling of this journey that these sacred rules are taught. Ear to ground, then burn fire, else to snakes fly you. Chaco hunter to a young hunter who laid down his spear to light the sogleaf fire. Ear to ground, then burn fire, else to snakes fly you. Okay, so Dazzlecat, got a question here. This is a primitive people, and just stop by and say hi to SLM. Now it's time to come see your stream for a bit. Well, welcome. So when you say this is a primitive people, and the grammar in these pull quotes that you have here are very rough and primitive in grammar, but then the hero Kermy Topwater. I don't. My question is: do primitive cultures have last names? I don't know when the first surnames actually came about. Okay, yeah, for WD Michael, Let's He stalked through their camp, a cold evening fair. Soldiers were resting, so neatly prepared. He entered each tent, he came and he went. They greeted the morn with only lament. Yeah. Surnames came about around 1500s, at least in England. Okay, yeah. So that's what um, because Kermie Topwater makes me think that they're more advanced than they actually sound like they're talking about. If there is a valid explanation why they're culturally advanced enough and a large enough of a people to need surnames, then that's fine. But it also does feel kind of uh, out of place, especially if a primitive people have something that's so important it's named after a person. Everyone would know who Kermie is without the top water. But that's just what's throwing me out right here. Okay, Chaco use fire for crafting, shamans reading light, and most importantly the making of hot sog leaf, a strong brew of blended leaves. No day can end without the drinking of sog leaf. Putting an ear to the ground where the fire is to be lit is one such sacred rule. It comes from the first journey of their beloved legendary hero, Kermie Topwater. Long, long ago, Kermie Topwater went deep into the Oquioke. I got to make sure I said that right. Oquioke, yeah. A normally before talk about surnames, secondary names, adding another name is old. Tom the Smith. Surnames that regen references apparent. Once that continued in the ages, it would be either Ragnar Tormson or Ragnar Smith. Okay. Unless there was a location called Topwater, which it would refer to maybe a high lake, and they called it the Topwater, and Kermie was from Topwater. Yes. Topwater is a location that Kermie came from. He's the Kermie of Topwater, and they just call him Kermie Top. A place, okay. Or Bjorn Ironside. Okay. Long ago, Kermie Topwater went deep into the Oquioke, so no other males could hear his new croak and steal it. There he reached the hidden deep, with no other Chaco tad about. He practiced his croak. It had to be perfect for the moonful sing if he ever wanted a tad lass of his own. Not until evening did he feel his croak was right. By then it was time to have his hot sog leaf. Kermie swam. Okay, I gotta ask. You have a tad a Kermit the Frog. Kermie is the nickname that Miss Piggy gave Kermit, and these people are frogs. I just gotta ask: is this Kermit the Frog? Because that's um, I'm just curious about it. No, okay. Um, that's what's coming to my mind. But then again, I'm old enough to remember the original Muppet Show on TV. Kermie swam out across the hidden deep to a bare island that was perfect for building a little fire. From one of the watertight pouches on his trusty belt, he took out a char wood brick and some tinder. Then he unlooped his fire starter, a piece of rough metal with a chink of flint wrapped about it with a bit of vine. Unraveling the two, he struck to flint to the metal. He's probably struck the flint to the metal, creating sparks until there were tiny flames. In moments, the charwood caught fire, and there were flames big enough to heat a tin cup of water. Before he could take out his cup, the island heaved and bucked beneath him, then began to rise. Hi-ho, hi-ho, Kermit the Frog here. As it rose, so did 7 great heads of the hydra he had just started his fire on. The heads bellowed and snapped their long tooth-filled jaws at him and each other. He hopped about madly, avoiding them as he also tried to escape into the water. Then one of the terrible jaws caught Kermit by his belt and flung him away. He landed far away in very tall trees that were filled by Chaco's most hated enemy, snakes. How he escaped the tree of snakes is another tale. Okay, so when we're talking about this, to ear to the ground, then burn fire, else to snakes fly you. Okay, so this is the long story of how Kermit, why that became a saying, ear to ground, to see if there's a hydra underneath you, then burn the fire, else the snakes fly you. Okay. That makes sense. And you're looking on, is this a prompt, or are we just going for just for review? Feeling like it's a bit incomplete, but not sure what to add without doing all the tales. Old Wives' Tale prompt. Ah, okay. The Old Wives' Tale. Okay. No, so hopped or sacred are sevens. Save your life, they will. So, how to add to it without writing all 7? Hmm. Hmm. Okay, so we have frogs. They are a frog people who are intelligent to name people. They can use tools. They have a belt, and they need to know why. And these tales are to tell the people. There's 7 tales that teach their young the importance of their 7 sacred rules, or is it good as well? See, um, the only issue here is that you mentioned that there are 7 tales. The um, the it because if you're, it's hard to expand this out without having the 7 tales. I instead of calling this the sacred is 7, just calling this um, saying this or something, describing this as why they always put their ear to the ground when they cook their tea, their sog leaf. And so, if you, to really just simplify this, I would probably get rid of the idea of 7 for this article. I would definitely want to keep 7. Definitely fill out the 7, because if you come up with these 7 issues that are most important in their life, the 7 pillars that they built their life, and constructed a simple saying for each of them, and then you had a short story like this one about each 7, I think that's great. For this article, I would probably just rename it and say it's one of the 7, and give this the parable of Sog uh, the parable of Sogleaf fires, or something like that. And that way you have the good article because it's a funny story. It You have a good quote here, but I would just probably just literally take that one off right there and keep, yeah, pretty much keep everything. And you could say that their 7 rules are there, but just say this article only talks about one of them. Yeah, and I'd probably just leave it at that. Kermit and the Hydra. Ooh, yeah. Yeah, Kermie. Yeah, call it Kermie and the Hydra. I would. When you think of using fairy tales or sayings like this as good kid's name, yeah. When you think of Little Red Riding Hood, what is the moral of the story of Little Red Riding Hood? Don't talk to strangers and do your chores as fast as you can. That is what people are trying to teach when they tell the story of Red Riding Hood. And so here you have a really funny fairy tale about the importance of knowing where you start your fires. And you could, if you wanted to add to it, not the literal, um, not the literal meaning of the story. Not the literal meaning of the story and how it's applied, but the metaphorical meaning. Now my head's being chopped off. Not that there's a lot of hair to worry about up there. Wait, we'll just do this. There we go. Lower the seat a little. Um, I would probably add a section of interpretation saying this real yes, we tell this story, and yeah, we have that tradition. Did I give you my Lorna? If you could just put it in the chat again, Aaron. If you just want to put the Lorna article in there, we can get to that next, and that will probably be the end of the night because we're getting to the top of the hour. Um, yeah. So if you wanted to add to this article, I would say, what is the reason before this? Because when they're saying ear to ground, then burn fire, else snakes fly you, does that really mean that that they always put their ear to the ground? But also it means, hey, watch where you step, or hey, be prepared before you take actions, stuff like that. So if you were to add the application of the rule for this one, I think that would be a great addition to this article without having to write 6 more articles. And then you have a good template on it. Yeah, Michael, are you on tonight? You're not on the calendar. No, he's on the calendar. He's probably already left. So we will do Aaron's article here, and then if WD Michael has started his stream, we'll rate him. I don't know if I can even check to see if he's still. It's so weird. It says when I look at users in chat versus, and it says I can only see one person in chat. But it says there's 9 viewers. So this is so weird. All right. Aaron is the best article maker this side of Peridot. What? LOL. So, any Deslicat, any questions about your article and that suggestion for the addition of the application of how the story is used in multiple things? Toy soldiers reference. Okay. All right. Lorna Sparkling Sky. Lorna Sparkling. Who drew this? No, this was all This is really cool art. Toy Soldier Saga homepage. Okay. Jamie Buckley. Okay. If you want to do a shout out for Jamie Buckley of an Instagram profile or uh, a link of something to them, this is cool. This is cool artwork. Feel free to throw that in the chat. Let's give a shout out to the artists of that use pens instead of prose. All right, paint instead of prose. Okay. The temple seemed exactly like a cave network, which he supposed was appropriate for a goddess known colloquially as the Cave Mother. Okay, I am going to open that in a new tab and get to it later. All right. Fomorians were unusually interspersed rather than segregated. Priestesses and women of all species tended to be warriors in bathhouses, massage chambers, and confessional chambers with thick doors where a warrior could let down his guard and speak. Tended to warriors. Okay, sorry. There were also lounge areas. One such lounge was occupied by a regal, bejeweled goblin woman whom Ghost introduced as Godmother Lorna of the Sparkling Sky Cartel. Lorna Sparkling Sky was the only daughter, surviving, of Alida Sparkling Moon and Selgorn Starry Sky. Oh, Sparkling Sky. Okay, I like that last name thing you did there. She began her career some 25 years ago at the tender age of 15. Lorna started as an interrogator for Godfather Danon Meteor Strike of the Meteors Cartel. Before she was 20, Lorna had grown to lead her Vesa, and had managed to somehow convince Don Danon to make her Ratoka of her own Veska. When she was 25, Don Danon took ill. Being in his 70s, this didn't surprise anyone. It was just old age. But as Kars and Karas begged him to name his successor before he died, the Don assured them that he had taken care of that and gave each of them a sealed letter to only be opened after his death. You split your infinitive here. So I'd move that only. I'd move that only. Yeah, okay. The bold is what will eventually be links. Yeah, that's a good placeholder. Which editor do you prefer? Do you use the like a WYSIWYG or do you use Euclid? Because I could see using bold when reviewing a Euclid. BB code would be a good link holder. Legacy. Not as familiar with Legacy. Okay. Without telling them, he instructed them not to open the letter until instructed to do so by his mistress and nurse, Kara Lorna Sparkling Sky, after his death. What he didn't tell them was the letter was trapped with an alchemical contact poison in the ink of the letter. If opened, the poison would likely kill them in short order if the ink was touched. Danon was heartbroken when all 6 of his commanders were found dead beside open letters in the morning. Everyone agreed it was that betrayal that killed him. The letter left Donna Lorna Sparkling Sky in charge of the cartel. Remove without telling them. Without telling them. Oh, yeah. He instructed. I really okay. Yeah, okay, that typo. But I really like that. Is clever. So I'm presuming that when she died, Kara would basically, or no, Lorna would say, "Hey, don't open the letters; it'll kill you." But because they were all so ambitious or wanting to know. They just did it anyway. That it was that betrayal that they couldn't be obedient to his command. That well thought out. Well thought out. I like that. Because you want someone who can be obedient to be your successor. Because if they can't be obedient to the person while he's alive, they won't be obedient to his legacy when he's dead. Well played out. Well played out. Chandra wasn't sure what the proper respectful gesture was, so he simply bowed. Well met, godmother. She let out a high soprano laugh. A clan champion bowing to me? You do me honor, Bloodfist. He smiled. My clan teaches me to respect women and leaders. She raised an eyebrow. Even goblins? Everyone. Okay, I don't know who this Chandar is, but I like him. Lorna immediately began to weed out those within the cartel that would be disloyal to her. Being a Bartor, Lorna was fully capable of reading minds and intentions, and was not above using it to ensure loyalty, and soon she had some of the most loyal people in Goblin history. Lorna was not one to use simply the stick method. At heart, she is a very nice person and truly enjoys rewarding those who are loyal to her and try their best. If Lorna be said to have a flaw, I might want to rephrase that one. It is her explosive short temper. She gets easily frustrated, especially when things don't seem to be going her way. In this sentence here, you're referring to the stick method, and there's the carrot and the stick. You talk about the stick, but you're explicitly stating about the stick, but you're implicitly stating about the carrot. And so I would either go both in or take both out. She was not one to simply use heavy enforcement. At her heart, she was a very nice person. I would probably, if you're going to don't use half of a metaphor, is what I'm getting to. But I like that you add that contrast where she is a nice person and she would rather reward those who are loyal to her, but she's not above bringing down the hammer. Okay. Godmother Lorna wiggled around on the chair, which was much too big for her and padded with furs and velvet. You are right, Durga. I do like him. Ghost smiled and bowed in turn. It was much too big for her, even though it was padded. I don't know. There's just that sentence. Not sure. She turned to Yathar. Captain, I trust your men are enjoying their visit here? He laughed. I do too, since they disappeared when I got here and they haven't been seen since. Nor Lakar. The little goblin smiled. She had a pleasing pale blue complexion and a round cherubic face. It was impossible to get a sense of her shape under her silken robes. So then, what can sparkling sky do for the Bloodfists? I don't know what Nor Lakar means, so I'm not going to comment on that. I do too, since I do too. I trust your men are enjoying their visit here. Oh, okay. Yeah, I do too. All right. These are excerpts from Sable's books. Okay? The final thing that Lorna loves, even more than money, is information. Tell her something that she doesn't know, and you'll have her delighted for hours. But feed her boring stuff that she already knows, and she is likely to have you thrown out. Waste her time at your own peril. Good insight. Shandar cleared his throat. First, I would like to thank you for helping us out in finding trade markets. Can you make any use of the black tusks in helping to facilitate that, and in serving as a go-between? She smiled and leaned forward on her throne. I imagine it would make it easier than using Durga as our go-between all the time. But if we're going to keep doing this, I want something more than money. Her start her starting purple eyes gleamed in the light of the flickering oil lamps. What would you like instead, godmother? She grinned, displaying a mouthful of sharp teeth. Information. Shundar couldn't help but grin. So would I. I believe we could come to a mutually beneficial relationship. Excellent. She leaned back in her chair and kicked her feet like an excited girl. Let's start with why you've been moving so many of your belongings around, Captain Bloodfist. All right. Yeah, that's cool. It it does rely heavily on the brothers in arms for your information, and you're getting a lot of the really good emotional connection to her through the excerpts from the book, with the exception of this middle section here, which is just brilliant. As far as how to trick how he tricked the people, and talking about her rise to power. That just worked really well. Um, yeah. Sometimes these felt a little too conversational. I um, but yeah, I think it's good. Yeah, but yeah, this is good. This is good. I really like again, that was really cool. All right. Yeah, I hope that was helpful. And going through and reading that, not sure I had a lot of suggestions for changes, but that was a fun read. Okay, so let's quickly take a look and see if uh, I'm finding it more effective. I don't know why, but not using Twitch, the raid channel, to determine if someone is online or not. I don't know why. So let me just. Okay, so WD Michael isn't online yet, but Roll Society is. They're still going strong, and with the Anvilite Streamer Core, it looks like there's a little bit of an overlap with the Roll Streaming Society and WD Michael. So the the Islam. Oh, is he still going? The Islam. Um, I need to. Oh, we'll just go like that. All right, so we will. Um, come on, we don't enough commercials. Where's that raid? The underscore Isalim. Okay, so again, a big shout out and thanks to the Anvilite Streamer Core for creating this wonderful website where we can coordinate all of the WorldAnvil streams to be able to share, work together, and collaborate. Thank you so much. If there's any day, hour in the 24th, okay, let's just check. There is not a gap for until the end of the month, literally going 24/7 until the end of Friday the 31st GMT. That is amazing. So please get out there and support the streamers who are helping. I'm so glad that we were able to have some fun tonight and work on helping those who are still striving to get 30, because it's going to be diamonds or bust for me, and I hope that's the same for as many out there. But even if not, please, every word you write for the summer camp is a word that you wouldn't have written otherwise. So get out there, get writing, and let's have fun doing it. So thank you so much for coming by. And oh yes, and yes, Zog is doing the 24-hour stream. That's right. And I will be a guest on Zog Mad Dog's summer stream at 5:30 in the morning, my local time, on August 1st. So that's going to be a fun chance to be able to be introduced to the early birds in a different time zone. So that's good. So yeah, we literally have a 24-hour stream all the way to the end. This is amazing. All right, so again, thank you so much. Glad to have everyone here. Thank you for supporting the stream. If you're new, please feel free to follow so that you can receive notifications going forward. If you liked this and find that this is helpful, I would be grateful for your subscription to be able to support this channel and support future efforts in expanding future streams after summer camp is over. And yes, Aaron, it is time for a lemon raid. Get it, those with the emote, get ready to shout out. If not, just shout out lemon raid in the chat, and we will have a great evening. I will see you again tomorrow night at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern, as we continue to work on the writing prompts and helping everyone improve their articles and getting ready for the last 3 prompts. So thanks, everybody. Have a great night.